Hello everyone, I'm welcoming you all once again to this channel. So we have seen many things about these random numbers. We have started with the generation of the numbers, then we have checked some of its properties, and we have also plotted the probability distribution using the random number. And today what we are going to do is we are going to distribute the random numbers, and then we will transform them into a normal distribution using the Box-Muller transformation method, and then we will try to plot how the probability distribution for that looks like. And before going ahead, let me just give you a brief about that what is this Box-Muller transformation method. So this is a method that converts uniformly distributed random numbers into normally distributed random numbers using a mathematical transformation. So to check that, here I have opened the Wikipedia for this Box-Muller transformation. So what is this actually? So this is a random number sampling method for generating pairs of independent standard normally distributed, which means zero expectation value and a unit variance random numbers given a source of uniformly distributed random numbers. So from the given source of uniformly distributed random number, we are trying to distribute the numbers into a normal distribution. And simply, the Box-Muller transformation is commonly expressed in two terms. The basic form is given by the Box and Muller. Takes two samples from the uniform distribution on the interval 0 and 1, and it maps them to two standard normally distributed sample. So here the transformation can be seen as this z0 is equal to r cos theta, which is nothing but a square root of minus 2 ln u1 cos 2 pi u1, and z1 is equal to r sin theta, which is nothing but square root of minus 2 ln u1 sin 2 pi u2. And this z0 and z1 are the independent random variables with the standard normal distribution. So this two variable, that is this z0 and z1, will help us to convert our uniformly distributed random numbers into a normal distributed numbers or normal distributed random numbers. So or any kind of normal distribution we can say. So what we are going to do here is we will try to generate a random number. So as you can see that a set of random number we required for this, that is u1 and u2, which has to be independent sample chosen from the uniformly distribution on the interval 0 and 1. And as we know, whatever the random number that we generate using our Fortran program, so it always generated between 0 and 1. So here we will take that and try to do. So here actually I already have the code, and I'm simply opening that, and I will make you understand each and every step of this code. So our code started with the Box-Muller, and here in the first step we will try to generate the random number. So here, as we are seeing in the formula, that the set of random numbers that we are going to generate is our u1 and u2. So here we simply defined our real parameter as u1 and u2, as you can see, and it depends on the dimension of the n value. So this is the number of sample points that we want to generate by using this particular code. And here inside the loop we call the random numbers, that is u1 of I and u2 of I. So these are our two sets of random number, and here just to see that what kind of numbers it is generating, so we just given one written comment. And now next, after generating the random number, we are going to do this z0 and z1 value. We are going to find this z0 and z1 value, so which will represent our independent random variable, and later it will provide us the normal distribution. So for that we have taken this formula for z0 and z1, which is as simple as we are seeing over here. And here we have used this u1 value and u2 value, that which are our random number set. And here in the print comment we have also checked that what are the kind of z0 and z1 value that we are getting after putting this random numbers in this. So this part is done. So where we simply generated the random number, and we simply wrote this equation like this formulas to find out our z0 and z1. So this part for like this is the very basic part of this code, and that part is over. So if you want, what I can do here is I can simply go and run this code. So Box-Muller, and then whatever the files that we will be getting over here, I will open one by one using our GNU plot. So first I am going to plot simply the 410 file where we have saved our random numbers. So here we can see that the random numbers are very much uniform because we have generated a large number of random numbers. That way you can see that the numbers are very uniformly generated. That's why this looks like a pure plane. And next what we are going to plot is we are going to plot the values that we have converted, like this Z0 and Z1. And as we have seen that by using this Box-Muller transformation, the normally distributed points that we will get, which will have a zero expectation value and a unit variance. So now we are going to check whether it is correct or not. So for that we are going to simply plot our 411 file, and yeah, so now you see that after the transformation, whatever the value we got, it has a zero expectation value. So if you will average out, you will get that value over 0, and it has a unit variance. So this part is done. So now what we can do is we will try to understand the rest part of the code. So now to define the like to do the Gaussian distribution of this random number, so what we need to do is we need to define a range. So like what is the minimum or maximum value within which we will generate our we will try to do this Gaussian distribution. So for that what we did here, we simply took the minimum and maximum value of the dataset that we have generated. So here you can see that the Z0 max is given as this max value of Z0. Similarly the Z0 min and Z1 max and Z1 min, which is we use the simple function like max val and min val to find out the maximum and minimum values of this transformed variable, this Z0 and Z1. So this part is done, and here we have just given one print comment to just plot this, to just print that out. Now what we can do is the next section we have started with the histogram setup. So here we have taken one variable as delta, that is 0.05, and we have one initial value. So here our initial value is started from the minimum value of the Z0. So this I val is equal to Z0 min, and the final value is I val plus delta. So what it is doing, like starting from the Z0 min, we are going and checking each and every values. So we are reaching at our final value by this much delta variable. Like we are going in step by step from initial value to the final value. So which will, and this delta is nothing but it is defining our bin width, and each bin is lying from the I val to f val, that means from the initial value to the final value. And next, inside this do loop, what we are going to do is for each bin we will count the values which will fall inside this. So here we have taken one counter, so that will count like whatever the values that are lying between this Z0 greater than equal to I val. So this Z0, as we know that this is our like first set of transform number, and this the values that are lying between this like Z0 greater than equal to I val and Z0 less than equal to F val, so then it will count that value as 1. So if this condition satisfied, then all the counter will store all those numbers as a count, like as a values that are meaningful for us. So inside this loop we have simply counted that how many values are falling inside the same kind of range. Now here we have calculated one average value, that is I val plus f val divided by 2. So this is the axis value, that like this is the x-axis value for the plotting. So every time we want to do the average, so that we can get our x-axis value, which we will take for the plotting. And now it's time to plot the average value with the counter. So whatever the values that we have counted within this range, we will try to plot that with the average value. And next here is this next is this binning. Like next we have to move to the bin. So after crossing the first bin, we have to go ahead. So this particular value, like I val is equal to f val and f val is equal to f val plus delta. So this will help us to slide the window across the entire data range. So for that we have given this kind of formula. And now we want to give a stop condition. So why we are giving that? So this stop condition will only because it will stop our code to run up to this much. So suppose this if f val is greater than z0 max, so once we will get a maximum value for the like for the set of transformation that we have generated, so the loop has to stop, because we don't want to go ahead, like we don't want to go across our range of the sample or the range of the transformed sample. So this is why we have given this z0 value, like we have given this exit condition over here. And now, like if I will tell you so much thing in this, you won't be able to follow. So what I can do simply is I can simply go and run the code. And we all, like already we have done that, but still I am doing it again here. And the file that we have saved, I think is Fort13, or let me check. So we are writing this to Fort12. So now let's go to our GNU plot, and here we will try to plot simply our Fort12 file with lines point. So now you can see that whatever the random numbers that we have generated out of from that, we did this Box-Muller transformation, and then we choose the range of the transformation. Like one set of transformed variable that we have taken over here is z0, and based on that we have simply did this normal distribution of the uniformly distributed random number. So this is how our Gaussian distribution looks like, and this is all we did by the help of the Box-Muller transformation. So this is how you can normalize your uniformly distributed random numbers into a normally distributed random numbers, and this is how you can simply plot the Gaussian distribution of that. And I hope all of you are following, and this code will be very, very helpful for you. And if you want, you can simply write the same thing whatever we have discussed over here. And also another thing I would like to mention that, so here I forgot to mention that why I have this this if condition here. So here this u1, suppose because we know that the random numbers are generating from 0 to 1. If any value of this u1 or u2 is equal to 0, then this log will have some like infinity value or something. So to avoid that kind of thing, here we have this u1 is equal to this if condition, where u1 is equal to 0 0, then it will take this as this much, means a very, very small number, like that, like 1 into 10 to the power 10, so 10 to the power minus 10, which means a very, very small number. It will consider that too, like that. Also another thing is, so here we have taken like whatever the distribution that we have seen, we have only taken this z0 value. If you want, you can also do the same thing using the z1 value, so no issue in that. We have simply took one of this transformed variable, and just we did all those calculation. If you want, you can also take this z1 and you do the same calculation. You will get exactly similar kind of Gaussian distribution, so no issue in that. So this is what I just wanted to tell you. And yeah, this much for today's session, and thanks for watching.